Hello friends, and welcome to CJoy Yoga. Today is our outdoor version. We'll probably get a little bit of the car sound as well, but I'm really grooving on these baby bird sounds coming from back here in this little bird house behind me. So we are going to be outside today, or I am anyway. Today's Little Ditty is going to be dealing with lengthening and stabilizing the lower back. I have a friend who was joined recently with spinal canal stenosis. Now your back does not have to have that exact thing. If you have sensitivity, if you've been shoveling, if you've been digging in the garden, you just have any little bit of sensitivity in the low back at any point in time, whether it's happening or right now, this is just good information and good exercises to make sure that we keep that area lengthened, but also so that we keep that area stabilized so we don't have as much compression or bulging of discs out of the backside and such. This is Dooley. This is my beautiful boy. He doesn't always come around, so I don't know, when we're outside maybe he'll join us more. You definitely want to have a strap. Now if you don't have a yoga strap, I bet you anything that somewhere around your house you have a belt or a bathrobe strap or a towel. Any of these things would definitely work, so grab that, right? And then a block is handy. You can do it without the block, but we're going to do a little side number, and the block helps keep the pelvis aligned. So especially if you're dealing with a bigger something in your lower back, something to stabilize, maybe like a shoe box. Book is debatable. It'd be a pretty light book. Don't have it be too heavy or you're just going to make extra core work for yourself. But you can do it without, worst case scenario. So click pause, grab your proper props, come back, and then when you're all set, you're going to put your buttocks down on your mat and you'll start the video back up. Have those props about the middle of your mat. I know I'm on an imaginary mat, but imagine that I'm in the middle of my mat so that I don't have to go searching for them once I'm lying on my back. We're going to put our feet on the ground with the knees bent and grab the backs of the knees. Now as you grab onto the backs of the knees, you're going to pull against the knees and you're going to try to pull your low back in so you're not, right, letting that low back round behind you. We want to keep the natural curve of the low back and find that long spine. Now to come down, I'm going to give two options, right? There's one where you can walk down the thighs, and that might help you. I think probably for my friend Miss Wendy and anyone else who has really sensitive low back, you might come down with the help of the hands and the elbows. So try to keep that low back long and slowly pulling the low belly in. We're going to come to our elbows, and then we're going to just simply let the elbows slide out as we roll down. If for some reason that does not work and there's a different way to get down for you that you know is safer for your back, please do that version, yeah? Let's have the feet on the ground with the knees bent. Walk your feet out a little wider than your hips and lean the knees towards one another. They do not have to come anywhere near each other. We're simply trying to soften the hips. And then take a moment and soften your shoulders away from your ears and let the arms come out about 45 degrees from your sides. Turn your palms up so the shoulders soften down, and this is where we're going to start to bring our awareness into play, right? So you're going to be on the middle of the back of your head. I'm turning my head slightly simply so my voice goes more towards the microphone. Close the eyes and inhale. Try to fill up from the base of the belly to the top of the chest. And when you exhale, soften all the muscles of the face. And inhale from the base of the belly, filling up to the top of the chest. And this time when you exhale, soften your throat and your neck and those big muscles that run from the neck over to the shoulders. Inhale and fill up from bottom to top. And this time exhale and soften your arms, hands, and fingers. Inhale, full breath. Exhale, softening through your chest and upper back, all the way through the middle ribs, the belly, and the low back. And then we got one more breath. Inhale, fill all the way up. And exhale with this breath, soften your hips all the way down through your legs, feet, and your toes. And then let the physical body stay soft, but now bring your awareness completely to your breath. And just notice the movement of the belly when you breathe. When you inhale, the belly floats up away from the spine. And when you exhale, that belly is going to float back down towards the spine. I'll say that one more time. When you inhale, the belly floats up away from the spine. And when you exhale, the belly floats back down towards the spine. Now with this next inhale, have the intention of pulling your L5, your low back, out of your sacrum just a little bit, not pulling it out, but creating space, right? So think of inhale, right? Lengthening between each of the vertebrae, and then try to keep that length even as you soften and exhale. From there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to walk our feet back into hip distance. And the first move that we do is going to be, I call it walking the knees. And you're not even going to see a lot of movement in my body, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my feet on the ground, and I'm going to very gently rock my right knee. I'm over-exaggerating right now, right? And then I'll rock my left knee forward. So from there, go ahead and take an inhale. And with an exhale, let your right knee move just a little forward, maybe 2 inches or something. The right hip lifts a little bit. That's really what we're looking for. And soften back down. Don't lift high. You want a traction in the hip. Let that left knee gently move forward towards the front of your mat. And soften that left hip back down, that left knee back in. Exhale, right knee is going to move forward towards the front of your mat or the front of your room. And exhale, soften that knee back into place. You'll notice the hip softens to the earth. And again, exhale, left knee moves forward. A small motion, trying not to engage any muscles around the hips. And inhale, soften back down. Now from there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring the right knee towards the chest. See if you can interlace behind the thigh, right up at the knee joint, and then really gently soften the knee towards the chest. Now for anyone who has herniated discs, you're still going to keep a little bit of the upper pelvis, right, the upper sacrum and the low back gently pulling up away from the floor so you keep your natural curve. That said, if it feels okay to let it round slightly towards the earth, you can, right? But just don't go rounding the whole spine. We're trying to open the muscles of the hip more than we're trying to round the spine. Take an inhale and bring that right foot back down. Go ahead and bring the left knee in. And we're going to interlace behind the thigh with the hands right underneath the knee joint. That way we get a little knee work as well while we're here, yeah? And then really gently bringing the left knee towards the chest. I mean, I'm still quite a ways away from my chest. I don't want to round my low back down to the floor, right? It can round a little bit, assuming that feels okay with your low back. But otherwise, try to keep the low back long, even as you hug the knee in. It's just bringing it to a different place in your body that way. Inhale. And exhale, bring that left foot down to the ground, right? Now, the next piece goes like this. You're going to take that strap, bring the right knee in, and if you need to lift your head a little bit, you can. You can let the knee move out, try to strap that right foot, and then you're going to push that right heel up towards the sky, right? So it's not about getting a 90-degree angle. It's about trying to lengthen your leg and straighten your leg. That said, if your leg is really tight and you're only a couple of inches above the floor, this is a lot of weight to hold for the arms and the upper body, so you might bend the knee a little bit. So find that happy medium place, right? And that might be a little bend, that might be a straight leg. My arms, you'll notice, are straight, and I'm grabbing closer to my foot than closer to the ends of the strap. Soften the shoulders in the socket, and now bring your mind's eye back into that low back. Can you let your sacrum, the low part of your sacrum, be heavy? And can you lengthen your spine out of that sacrum? Even as you push your right heel up and start to lengthen through the back of the right leg. So we're just trying to find a little relief, a little length, a little space right now. Take one more breath there. And then we're going to go into the IT band. You're going to put both straps in your left hand, and the right arm can just come. Actually, take your thumb into your hip crease. I'm going to change it. You're going to put it in the hip, and I want you to pull your right hip forward, which also lengthens the low back, which is fantastic for your body, right? And as you push that right hip forward, you're going to move your right leg to the left, just about 3 to 5 inches, right? And then push through the heel and pull the pinky toe edge all the way back down to the outer right hip. And you should be feeling that outer right thigh or maybe the back of the knee, right? And if you're not, pull your toes back as you push your hip forward, and that should isolate it and bring it into that area for you. 2 breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Take 1 more breath here. Inhale and exhale. Bring the leg back to the center. You're going to leave the strap around that foot as you bring that foot, ooh, unlike what I just did, as you bring the foot down to the ground, and one strap comes between the legs, the other strap comes to the outside, right? Now you're going to bring your left ankle onto your right knee. This is all assuming this is okay with your low back so far. But here's the trick, guys. If every time you move the legs, you round the low back behind you, that might be causing some issues. If you keep your pelvis stable and your low back long, lengthening out of the pelvis, that might allow these moves to happen. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. I'm not in your body. Flex your left foot, left thigh moves forward. This might be plenty, just like this, and that outer left hip might be turning on, right? Otherwise, maybe you bring the legs up, keep that low back lifted, and then I have my strap in each hand, right? So now I can pull my right thigh back to me without worrying about interlacing or rounding the spine. I keep my spine long and pull the right leg back as the left leg moves forward, and hello to your left outer hip, right? The gluteus maximus for most of us. Take an inhale, and you're gonna bring that right foot down. Keep the straps for now, right? And then when you bring that left foot down, you're going to see if you can trap the left foot underneath the strap so you don't have to hug it in and try to get it that way. Release the right foot and bring that strap between the legs and pause. Notice your right leg, notice your left leg, right? Hamstring specifically, and then notice your right hip and your left hip. So it was the right hamstring we were working in, the left buttocks. Now from there, as you bring that left leg up, hopefully you've got that strap around it. And then maybe you start to push that left heel up to the sky. Again, pay attention to the low back. Are you rounding it behind you? And if you are, can you find the natural curve? Can you lengthen the spine? Let the bottom of the sacrum get heavy and move to the earth. Let the low back gently pick up off the earth. And then push the left heel away, pull the toes back down, and hopefully the whole back of that left leg is lengthening right now. If the hamstrings are tight, the hamstrings start to pull the pelvis back so that our low back starts to move behind us, which is this unnatural position. So if we can get space in the hamstrings, sometimes that can help the low back feel like it can find length. Both straps, right hand, left thumb in the hip crease, push the hip forward and hold it down, and move the left leg over to the right about 3 to 5 inches. And then pause there, push the inner heel away and pull the pinky toe edge back to the outer hip. And if you're still not feeling anything, push your hip forward and pull your toes towards your head or the back of your mat. And hopefully feeling the outer left thigh. Maybe it's by the knee for you, but is your spine long? Is your low back have a little space between the floor and the low back? And is your pelvis neutral? From there, bring it back to the center. We've got that thread the needle on this side. So keep the strap around the foot as you set the foot down, and bring the straps down the right side of the strap between the legs. Right ankle, left knee, flexing the right foot, right thigh moving forward. Now this might be plenty for you, right? Maybe you grab close to the foot on the strap as close as you can. And then you bring that leg up, shin parallel to the ground. Find out if that low back is rounding. Try not to let that happen. We're stabilizing. And then pull that left shin back, right? Or the foot with the strap, I should say. And work the right thigh gently forward and breathe here. One more inhale. And exhale, go ahead and bring that down. You can release that strap now and pull it out of the way. Just gently lift your heel and you can pull that out and put it off to the side. Now let's do a little stabilizing now that hopefully we have some space. So take an inhale, put your fingertips on your frontal hip points, your as-is bones they're called, right? And without them moving, slowly bring the right leg up. And if that hurts the low back or you feel like you're moving all over, you might work with your foot on the ground and not do this next piece completely, yeah? And then from there, without your left hip moving, maybe that left leg can come up into tabletop. Option 2 is the knees come a little closer to the body, but do not round the spine, the low back. Don't let that low back go into the floor, right? Keep its natural curve. Now from there, bring your hands onto your thighs. You're going to push your thighs forward even as you pull the thighs back into the hands. It's called an isometric action. Again, I push my legs forward with my hands. My legs pull back into my hands, and with that push-pull action, you should be feeling the low belly activate. That is your transversus abdominis. Think of it as a corset. It runs around the whole body, and it's a very beautiful, beautiful muscle that we don't utilize as much as we should. So we're training it to turn on. Inhale, exhale. You can either bring both knees towards the chest if that feels okay. I like my hands behind my thighs on gentle days or when my low back is sensitive. You can go around the shins if that's better for you. And again, you have two options. Maybe the knees come a little closer and you round the low back, but if you have herniated bulging discs, that might not be an option, or it might not feel good, right? It might be better for you to keep the knees a little away. Bring the low back up just gently, lightly off the floor, and then hug the knees in maintaining the low back and pelvis. And from there, keep the legs there, grab your block. You're going to put your block in between your knees, your thighs specifically, and then bring the legs back up into the tabletop. Now again, knees can stay closer to the chest. You can work with the feet on the ground and work it from there, but otherwise, push, pull, right? So put your hands on your thighs, push, pull, find the low belly, the transversus abdominis. Bring the hands down and tee them out to the side. Take an inhale, and with an exhale, keep your hips moving forward as you maybe go over to the right a little bit. You might not go far if you can let the left hip lift. Again, this is also me assessing your body, and you're going to let me know if this is available. And I don't go far, but I move into the block lightly, right? And then I'm going to inhale back. So I'm trying to get into your side waist with this. Move your right hip forward as you move the legs over to the left a little bit. Lengthen that low back and sacrum, yeah? And maybe pushing into the block lightly, and then inhale, right side waist brings you up. Now, assuming this is okay, we're going to do one more. You're going to move the hips, the knees to the right, but move the left hip forward so you keep that low back really long. And left side waist helps bring you back up. One more. Legs over to the left, right hip moving forward. Don't go too far. And inhale back up. Remove the block, put the feet on the ground, pause, soften, and if you are like, oh my God, my hip flexors are so tired, you need to train the hip flexors to let go a little bit and let that transversus abdominis turn on, and the side waist, right? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to we're trying to teach the core muscles, which are not just the abdominals, but specifically today we're working with the abdominal part of the core work. Yeah? One more piece before we end, and that is this windshield wiper. We're going to try. I'm curious what twists like are in your spine. Tee the arms out with the palms up. Take an inhale. The feet are as wide as the mat, and with an exhale, let the knees really, really slowly move over to the right. Again, think of your hips, your buttocks bones moving down away from you, so you keep the spine long as you move it towards a twist, and you don't have to go all the way in. Inhale, bring that up. Go before pain, most definitely, and if this is not available, don't worry about it. This is, again, partly me assessing. Knees to the left, hips moving forward, moving in as far as you comfortably can, and that might be an inch or two, that might be to the ground. We're not judging. Bring it back up. We are assessing. Let those knees move to the right, buttocks bones forward to the front of your mat as you move over. And inhale back up. And buttocks bones forward, letting the knees move over to the left. Any amount. Bringing those knees back to center. Walk, or the feet are already wide. Sorry, let them stay wide. Lean the knees in. Bring the arms down just a little bit. And let's take 3 breaths before we end. Inhale, maybe into that low back and sacrum, expand. And exhale, again, with the intention of expanding the area that's talking to you. Inhale and expand. And exhale, and let's take one more breath there, friends. Inhale. And exhale. So I'm going to show 2 different ways to come off of the floor, right? Bring the feet into hip distance. Lift the hips up. And I just got a bug. Bring the arms in and turn your palms down, but clasp your thumbs behind your back. And then sit down on your wrists, your forearms, your hands, whatever you get. Depends on your proportions, right? Reach the heels up to the sky. The knees can be bent. Now, as my heels reach forward, I pull my low belly in and I push in my elbows like crazy. Yeah? Inhale. And with an exhale, reach the heels forward, find a little low belly, and then push into the elbows and push into the elbows and push into the elbows. That, for many of my friends with low back issues, is a nice, safe way to come up. If you're like, oh gosh, that doesn't feel very great in my low back, you might come over into the fetal position. You can always reach that bottom arm overhead so you have a pillow. The top hand is going to really gently push the floor away as the top leg, for me it's the left because I'm on my right side body, moves forward to the front of the mat, keeping the neck soft, pushing the floor away. And if you can come to cross-legged, come to cross-legged. If you need to stand all the way up, you might then push over onto hands and knees. If you have that chair, you can always use a chair, right? Otherwise, curl the toes under. And you got to be careful of that low back, right? So you're going to put a little effort into pushing the heels down and keeping that low back long as you try to stand up. And we'll have another lesson that deals more with that, right? But wherever you're sitting or standing, you can be sitting in a chair, right? Sit up nice and tall. Think of all that length we tried to create and all of the muscles around the hips. Think of the spinal column lengthening up, out of the sacrum. And let me know how that goes, particularly to my friend Miss Wendy. And we'll keep going from there. Hopefully your low back feels a little longer and like it's got a little bit of space. Namaste. Bow the head, not the low back. And remember, you can find me on patreon.com/CJoy Yoga. If you like what I do, become a subscriber, tell other people around me, and let's all do yoga and try to stay as healthy as we can together. Namaste, friends.